मैं पश्चिम बंगाल के बीरभूम में हुई हिंसक वारदात पर दुख व्यक्त करता हूं, अपनी संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं आशा करता हूं कि राज्य सरकार बंगाल की महान धरती पर ऐसा जघन्य पाप करने वालों को जरूर सजा दिलवाएगी। मैं बंगाल के लोगों से भी आग्रह करूंगा कि ऐसी वारदात को अंजाम देने वालों को, ऐसे अपराधियों का हौसला बढ़ाने वालों को कभी माफ न करें। केंद्र सरकार की तरफ से मैं राज्य को इस बात के लिए भी आश्वस्त करता हूं कि अपराधियों को जल्द से जल्द सजा दिलवाने में जो भी मदद वो चाहेगी, भारत सरकार मुहैया कराई जाएगी।
Well, after allegedly to have taken the entire gruesome incident lightly, Mamata Banerjee has now decided she's going to visit Birbhum tomorrow. Having said that, earlier on, Mamata Banerjee had pretty much linked the incident, which took 8 lives, which included 2 children, to nothing more than possibly sneezing. I want to cut across right now to Birbhum. Joining me from there is my colleague Surya Agni, who's getting us the latest. Surya Agni, a lot of arrests have taken place at the back of the incident. What's more that you can tell us?
Well, Preeti, 20 people have been arrested since last evening in this particular incident. Now, and amidst this, political parties are arriving over here. The forensic investigation team was here as well. They collected samples just a while back. They got stuff from the house which was burnt, which was completely burnt down, and they have taken these evidences, and these are the evidences which will eventually tell us what happened on the night of Monday, where 7 people were completely charred to death in that particular house where we have been reporting since yesterday night itself. Coming back to Mamata Banerjee, Mamata Banerjee will be heading to this particular spot in Rampur Hat in Birbhum tomorrow. She is, scheduled to come over here. What we do understand, she may even go and speak to few people who are residing over here. As we have been reporting since last evening, that a lot of people have left, but it's not a complete mass exodus as such, but there are people who have stayed back. Now, one very important thing that we have, we have faced since last evening, be it the ones who are leaving, be it the ones who are deciding to stay back, a lot of them are questioning the role of the police, where the police was, and had the police acted swiftly, this kind of a situation could have been prevented. Back to you, Preeti.
Surya Agni, before one very quick question before we leave you. You've been speaking to the people there. This entire act, this gruesome act of violence, seems to have taken place after the killing of a TMC Panchayat leader. Will you throw some more light on it? And now, is there an attempt by those living there to actually move away from the place because they feel unsafe? Because you were talking about a small exodus from the area. Would you give us more info on that?
Well, a lot of people have left this particular area. Yesterday itself, when we arrived over here, Bhadu Sheikh, the person with whose killing the entire episode started, that happened on Monday evening, on Sunday evening, on Monday evening, sorry. He was bombed to death in Rampur Hat area, and he's the, village Upapradhan, the deputy Pradhan of this particular village. And ever since then, the entire situation, the entire area got heated up. Now, his own brother, we spoke to him, he left his residence along with his family. He clearly stated that his younger brother named Bahadur was killed a few years back. Bhadu has been killed, so he has women folk, children folk with him in his family, and he doesn't feel safe staying at the house that he has lived for ages. So as there are cases like that who are leaving their particular houses, there are people, eyewitnesses as such, who stay pretty close to the house of the incident president's house. However, they too claim that they too feel unsafe. But where would these people go? We have spoken to a lot of people over here, Preeti. The ones who are staying, they are staying because they have nowhere to go. And that is their, saddest reality at this moment. Back to you, Preeti.
Surya Agni, I'm going to continue coming back to you. My colleague confirming 20 people have been arrested since Mamta Banerjee has finally decided to go and visit Birbhum tomorrow is what we're getting to understand. Thank you, Surya Agni. Let's take it now to our political panelists. But before I cut across to them, I'm joined by Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Shazia, if you'll give me 2 minutes, I want to cut across to a senior journalist, Jayanta Ghoshal. He is with us, joining us from Kolkata. We also are joined by political analyst Monojit Mondal. Dr. Mondal, appreciate you joining us. Just give me a minute. I want to cut across to Jayanta before to get a larger understanding of the issue. Jayanta Ghoshal, the fact is, Mamta Banerjee this morning linked the entire incident to not anything more but sneezing. We saw revenge killings take place or revenge violence take place once the BJP lost and the TMC came to power. An incident like this is way gruesome. To actually say that, the opposition runs to courts when, like, somebody is just sneezing is bizarre, no?
Yeah, I think we should, across in the political, irrespective of the party line, we should condemn this incident. And at the outset, I should introduce myself that I'm not at all a spokesman of Trinamool Congress or any other political party. For the last 40 years, I'm onlooker of West Bengal politics, and this sort of incident, I think there is a loose authority. Actually, if you can control the police authority, because law and order is the state subject, and here the ruling party's panchayat leader has been killed, and it's between two groups, and police has arrested the brother of the killed person also. So, be that as it may, investigation is on. I hope Chief Minister, as Prime Minister also said, that Chief Minister should take action, and I think Chief Minister has issued statement and she has become proactive. But the ruling party, when CPM regime, I have seen all incidents, this sort of political violence, there is a tradition of political violence, unfortunately, in West Bengal. And I don't want to go in the history, but today, state law and order is the state subject, and if a junior reporter does some mistakes, and as editor, I had to go to court. So, the leadership has to take the responsibility of this sort of incident.
Right.
And whether the killed person is Muslim or Hindu, that is immaterial, that is irrespective of the religion. But the Muslim are also now saying that you have to give the protect to the minority also. So it's an issue of the party.
Jayanta Ghoshal, it might be as complex as you're putting it there. It might be extremely complex. It might be mirroring on what is the bloody politics of the state of West Bengal right from the time of the left. But having said that, to draw an analogy, if a junior reporter makes a mistake, at least one would expect that the buck stops at the highest level at the editor. The editor is responsible, is answerable, is required to take the strongest of action, which is to sack possibly the junior reporter. Has that happened in this case? No, we've only seen arrest, but I want to bring it. Shazia Ilmi, the TMC says that the BJP approaching, going to court from the smallest of instances.
Smallest of incident? Don't you find this grisly and gruesome? 2 children charged to death, 6 women being burnt alive. What are we talking about? I mean, can you even imagine this? Had it happened in a BJP-ruled state, every little detail would have been brought to light and amplified. But here, 8 human beings, actually 10, out of which 6 were women, were burnt alive. They were 2 children. Do we even know what we're talking about? And the entire priority for Mamta Banerjee is to prevent the BJP leaders from visiting the site and calling it and comparing it with what goes on everywhere else. The governor has written a letter. The Prime Minister has expressed deep shock and anguish and just asked for clean and decent investigation. And this is the best we can come up with. Where is the outrage? What is happening? 2 children were burned to death, charred to death, and this is all we can do. This is all we can come up with. This is the best we've got as a country, only because this is ruled by TMC, and TMC likes to abuse Modi ji. So this is how it's going to be. All the leaders who abuse Modi ji, if they are CMs of the state, people can be burned to death, raped. And post-poll, we saw that the cadres and even the families, and these were Dalits. What happened to all those parties who were talking about Dalits? What has happened to Congress party which talked about Dalits? What has happened to Aam Aadmi Party? I mean, where are these people now? I really want to know.
Both the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party have criticized this. The Congress has more skin in the game because the Aam Aadmi Party is a non-player in West Bengal. But the Congress has criticized it. They are going to call
generally, no. Whether you have skin in the game or you don't have any stake, it's a condemnation, right? It's something. It's an outrage. It's like when you talk about deaths, it's like the whole Mombatti brigade, which comes out. Where is it? Isn't this a big scar on the nation's conscience? Death anyway, murders anyway. Where is it? I'm really looking forward to an editorial in New York Times and Washington Post and our own newspapers. And I'm so grateful to you, that you're making this an issue and being fair about it. These are our brothers and sisters and our children. We can't just see them as Hindus and Muslims and Dalits and BJP cadres and Hindu cadres and Pradhan supporting BJP or TMC. But what kind of rule of law is prevailing there? I'm just so shocked. I went to Kolkata recently, and what I saw, the way I cannot tell you what happened to me there. In Kolkata, right in the center, I just don't know what's happening there. So, fine. I understand some people don't like Modi ji. I understand Mamta ji likes to abuse him, which is also fine. Politically, it's allowed. But can we do this to our people? Can we do this to anybody? I don't get it, you see. It is really shocking and very distressing. And
Dr. Monajit Mondal, I want to bring you in on this conversation because at one level, to say 20 arrests have been made. But, right before we came down to our political debate, we heard my colleague who's right now in Birbhum, the first thing he says is, everyone he asks says there was no rule of law, there was no police. Should not heads roll this time around? Instead of arrests, if the lawmaker, which is under the government of Mamta Banerjee, if the police was missing, heads should roll, shouldn't they?
Let me give you this piece of information that in just half an hour ago, 12 police officers and one the police.
We can barely hear you, Mr. Mondal. Would you, your audio is...
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, yes.
Let me give you this piece of information. 12 civic volunteers and the police officers were suspended just half an hour ago. So the state government is taking action. And Mamta ji, let me tell you, you can talk about one passing comment, but Mamta ji has condemned the incident in strongest possible terms. And not just that, since yesterday, Preeti, the action has been taken. The police has taken action very, very promptly, and they are investigating the matter with all seriousness. The minister went to the victims. We are all supporting the victims. And the government will do whatever it can to nab the criminals irrespective of their color. Mamta ji has said so. But look at the other side of the story. The BJP, the governor, the opposition leaders, they're also playing politics. They want 355, they want 356. Let me tell you this, 50 kilometers away from this particular place, 3 days back, we're all celebrating Holi. And lakhs of people gathered under the police of the same state, same district. Nothing happened. I was there. It was Shantiniketan.
But why shouldn't? One second. No, Dr. Mondal, Dr. Mondal, for a journalist who covered... No. Dr. Mondal, I want to ask you a question. Why shouldn't the opposition politicize it? Why shouldn't the opposition politicize it? Did not the TMC and was allowed to do so when the farmers were sitting at the borders in Delhi? You came and met them, your delegation met them, your delegation went to Hathras. One second, sir. Your delegation went to Hathras. Why shouldn't they politicize it? They're the primary opposition in your state.
Politicization and politicking, I think I should have said politicking. When you are looking for 355 or 356 for an incident which is definitely horrific, that is politicking. We did not demand 356 in Delhi, right? Did we? We just demanded repealing of the act, which the government ultimately had to do. You cannot make this comparison. We did not demand 356 in UP. We just wanted justice for the victims. Similarly, in Bengal, the state government is doing whatever it can to give justice to the victims. That is our first priority. Justice means nab the culprits, book them under law, and punish them as much as you can.
Shazia Ilmi, have faith on the government, hold the government accountable, but don't ask for president's rule because that's unfair.
But, you know, if you have, I mean, killings after killings, rapes after rapes, have you had a situation like that in India anywhere? That women have to go to the Supreme Court because a local SHO would not, and this is, I'm talking about young girls again, only because their families have voted for a party, they're gang raped and left in the forest to die. And the local station house officer would not file the report, which is not allowed. Because there is no locus, I mean, he has no right. So another kind of law prevails. And the police works like a private army for Mamata Banerjee. There is a local feudal army of Mamata Banerjee. There is a surveillance that goes on that whoever visits the governor, in fact, the industrialists and businessmen, if they visit the governor, there is a surveillance and Mamata calls them up and says, oh, you have worked with the governor. If he calls for a meeting, which he's supposed to do to vice chancellors, because he's supposed to be the head of all education institutions, they hollered up.
Okay.
This is what's going on there. I mean,
all right, Dr. Mondal, please respond. The BJP says it's not a one-off incident. You saw it happen at the back when TNC came to power.
There is something else going on. Do you want it to become a state like Kashmir?
Dr. Mondal, please respond.
Do you want to lose another state? I think there should be precedence rule because something very serious is going on.
Okay, Dr. Mondal, please respond. Yes, go ahead.
Since 5th of May 2021, the day Mamata took charge of the third government, till today, Preeti, just remember, how many TV programs did we have on Bengal violence till this date? How many? Can you remember?
I can give you the numbers.
Let's go one by one.
Madam, please, let me
Dr. Mondal, quickly make your point.
Why are you being so violent? Nothing. Because, yes, some incidents did take place between 2nd of May and 5th of May. I think I was there in the affidavit also. And the incident, madam, that you are referring to of a very horrific rape, the police took action. Immediately after Mamata took charge on 5th of May, I am giving you the date. 7th of May, the case of rape was registered against the incident that you are referring to. So police is taking action. Even in the recent incident 1 week back when 2 councillors were killed, both the criminals were nabbed. Yes, the crimes are happening everywhere.
Right. Okay,
no, don't justify it. Please don't justify it.
Nobody is justifying this kind of thing.
All right, okay, I'm horribly out of time. I wish I could go back to Jayanta Ghosal as well, but horribly out of time. Appreciate you all for joining us. We're going to keep a keen eye on all developments. Well, Dr. Mondal just told us that 12 police personnel have been suspended in Birbhum. What other action is taken? 20 other arrests have been made. We're going to keep a keen eye on what really goes down. Will heads roll this time around? A quick break to stay with us. Up next is Rahul Kanwar.